Embraced by artists and praised by the public. What's hot at the sizzling New Jersey Performing Arts Center right now on Carpe Diem? Every season, the New Jersey Performing Arts Center presents the world's top orchestras, recitalists, pop and rock artists, dance companies, Broadway productions, so much more. Now with a relatively new CEO and an even newer showbiz, I might say, executive producer, both NJPAC's programming and electronic footprint are being enhanced and handled in new and exciting ways. David Rodriguez joins NJPAC, or I should say he joined NJPAC in January of this year as executive producer and vice president. And he's kind enough to join us at Montclair State University right now to share the excitement. David, I'm just so pleased you're here.
Always a pleasure.
So I got to ask you first, how cool is it, how great is it to be programming the area's most important artistic venue, NJPAC?
It is an amazing canvas. It's one of those places that you can't walk into without just saying, wow. And I think whether it's an artist, whether it's an audience member, it retains that wow for you, and it makes you want to come back. I mean, I sat there the other night listening to the New Jersey Symphony, and I thought, you know, this is why live performance is better than iTunes.
I couldn't agree more, yeah, and I love to go out and, I mean, I've been to your venue. I can't tell you how many times to see live performance and the acoustics, the house. If people haven't been there, you know, we actually have a photo, at least of the exterior, that we should put up. It's just, again, for folks that have not gone to NJPAC, it is such a gorgeous facility. There it is, right in downtown Newark. Years ago, they said it couldn't be done, and it was done, and it is thriving, and it's flourishing, and it's, look at that place. It's just gorgeous. But, you know, what I wanted to ask you is, you know, you've been there about a year or so, maybe a little less. So what have you learned about NJPAC in time you've been there so far?
Well, I think it's interesting in that you can take something in New Jersey, in Newark, and have it resonate around the country. I mean, the program, some programs that we've worked on together, bringing in America's Got Talent. And just in the last couple of weeks, we've had the Dodge Poetry Festival, which is the largest poetry festival in North America, as well as the Moody Jazz Festival, which was really the heartbeat for jazz on the East Coast for an entire week. It isn't just resonating for those people in the theater, it's much beyond that in terms of the broadcast, the internet, all of those types of things. I think people are really looking at NJPAC.
So the Moody Jazz Fest, I would imagine you had some pretty amazing major talent there. Is this true?
Absolutely. I mean, James Moody is, you know, a son of Newark, and just was so special. His time with Dizzy and all of those other artists. And it's a matter of those artists coming back and saying, I want to salute this wonderful person. We also were able to salute Sarah Vaughan through the Sarah Vaughan Vocal Competition. And for instance, that competition got 21 million hits on the website for the application, and was a major highlight of the program. But on top of that, the George Bensons, the Manhattan Transfers, the David Sanborns, Christian McBride served as our artistic advisor. It was just a coming together of good souls with unique programming.
So let's talk about you, right? Why not? I know you have a very prestigious bio. Why do I know that? Because I researched the show and I read about you. You've done a lot of stuff.
My mom wrote that.
And she did a good job, by the way. Tell me a little bit about your career. I mean, you've kind of done it all in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, all leading to here. I started out as a musician, playing bass with a lot of different jazz artists, and have worked through Carnegie Hall. I ran the Apollo Theater and Showtime at the Apollo for a period of time, and quite recently was working both with the Bergen Performing Arts Center and the Bennett Recording Studios. Coming here is kind of a culmination of that in terms of taking media and once again looking at shows not just for the 2,800 people who are in the house, but saying, how can we touch people who are beyond the state, who are even beyond the country through programming that resonates?
And that's a huge initiative, isn't it? The so-called electronic footprint. I know that you and the CEO, John Schreiber, are way into electronic mediums.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if you look at a program like America's Got Talent, here you have, on traditional media, a program that reaches, over 20 million people per show and is the #1 show in the country. Every show, there were 2 boxes of people just twittering and dealing with social media, just putting performances on the web. I mean, the way that type of a show resonates is amazing. And the same thing can be done if you have Yo-Yo Ma in front of the New Jersey Symphony, if you have George Clinton performing with Morris Day and the Time. Everyone is using social media right now. My mother Skypes. It's amazing.
That is amazing. And you reminded me, you mentioned your mom again. You're from Newark, aren't you?
I am.
You're a Newark kid.
Born in Newark and lived my life in a lot of it in Fanwood, Scotch Plains. And it's great to be back. I mean, Newark is just such a special place, such a diverse place, and a place that just holds such a history in terms of the music.
Oh yeah, Newark has a storied background in music, as we both know. And listen, as we talked about before the show, we're both Newark advocates. I mean, I was in Newark for just about 30 years doing TV, and Newark is such a fabulous town, and I know how I feel, and you probably feel the same. We want people to know it, and we want the word to get out. Just what a fabulous, artistic, beautiful community Newark is.
Absolutely. It's when you talk to people about coming to Newark, when you talk to people like Aretha Franklin and say, why haven't you been to Newark before? And they walk in and they see the space. There's just a wow factor, and you get the same thing from a Dougie Fresh. The feeling to be, it's a feeling of being honored, like working at Carnegie Hall. You say, this is where this music belongs.
So getting back to the electronic mediums, I know you mentioned already, it's all about outreach. I know you want to get into a lot more television, don't you? And perhaps radio and lots of online. Why don't we talk about that a little bit? What do you want to do?
Well, there's a lot I can't announce yet, I have to say.
Okay.
But we are certainly working hard to renew our existing television relationships, but we're also strengthening our programs with public television and with a number of other both commercial and non-commercial entities to make sure that we can share our programs beyond the 4 walls. And I think this is something the artists are just excited about doing as we are. They realize at this point, when you have an artist like Louis C.K., I mean, he now sells all his tickets via his website.
But is he coming to NJPAC?
And communicates their... yes, he is.
Okay, maybe that was something you couldn't talk about. I'm sorry, but we say perhaps he's coming.
You can expect an announcement soon.
Right. He's probably, if not the hottest comedian these days, one of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, before you did AGT, which was just so thrilling, sitting at home and then sitting in that audience, it was great at home. Just seeing NJPAC, New Jersey Performing Arts Center, at home on NBC Network, and it looked, I mean, both of your halls, I mean, I've shot TV in both of your halls, they both shoot great. I mean, they're really gorgeous. But before AGT, we did a little TV there, and actually just a few months ago, David and I worked together on music and award segments for the NAACP Image Awards. These are live on NBC from Hollywood and from Prudential Hall at the beautiful New Jersey Performing Arts Center. Now, David was the boss, of course, and I was the director. Let's take a look at the Brian McKnight segment from that night. What a great talent.
It's undeniable that we should be together. It's unbelievable how I used to say that I'd fall never. The basics need to know. If you don't know just how I feel, then let me show you now that I'm for real. If all things in time will reveal. Everyone in the house say one. You're like a dream come true. just wanna be with you. Girl, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me. And repeat steps 1 through 3, make you fall in love with me. If ever I believe my work is done, then I start back at 1. Yeah, yeah. So incredible the way things work themselves out, and all emotional once you know what it's all about. Hey, and undesirable for us to be apart. I never would have made it very far, 'cause you know you've got the keys to my heart. 'Cause 1, you're like a dream come true. 2, just wanna be with you. 3, girl, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me. And 4, repeat steps 1 through 3, make you fall in love with me. If ever I believe my work is done, say farewell to the dark of night. I see the coming of the sun, and I feel like a little child whose life has just begun. And you know you came and breathed new life into this lonely heart of mine. You threw out the lifeline just in the nick of time. You're like a dream come true. I only wanna be with you. And 3, girl, it's plain to see that you're the only one for me. And 4, repeat steps 1 through 3, make you fall in love with me. If ever I believe my work is done, then I start back at 1. We love you.
Okay, we're back. Wow. You know, I hadn't really seen that again. I watched it after I did it, but you know, I saw it again, getting ready for the show. Guy's unbelievable.
It's wonderful, and he's just one of the kindest people in the world. And as I look at the shot, I see Ray Chu in the background, who's the musical director, another New Jersey guy.
And another, this guy, you know, he didn't know me from Adam. He was so nice to me. Great, great guy, and a great talent.
And he was the musical director for our gala that just happened, which was a night in Motown. And he curates one of these at Carnegie Hall every year, but he says, listen, I need to give back to New Jersey. And he and his wife, Vivian Chu, who's a force in her own right in the music industry, decided to come back and help with our annual gala with people like the Four Tops and In Vogue, Darlene Love, who is coming back for her Christmas show, and so many others. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for those events that are special, that you can't get anyplace else.
I'll tell you what, I attended every one of your galas until about the last couple of years. Some years, you know, working, shooting, some years just there. And the lineup of talent at the NJPAC Spotlight Gala, just, you know, I'm thinking back, of course, the first year was, you know, was on great performances, but Diana Ross one year was just fabulous. Lionel Richie, he was there, you know, maybe 5 years ago, and, you know, I knew his music. I wasn't a fan. I became a fan that night.
And the Women's Association that runs it just does an amazing job, and all those dollars go back into our arts education programs. I mean, it really makes a difference when you look at the gala, and that's kind of the face of what the theater is, but the soul of the theater is really all those young people that are affected by the success of that gala.
And I know that arts education from day one, and when I say day one, I mean before the building was built, arts education has always been a major priority for NJPAC for a variety of reasons.
Absolutely, and that's a lot of what we're trying to do now is link the artists on the stage to arts education. So when Herbie Hancock was here, he had an open rehearsal. He spoke to kids from Jazz for Teens. I mean, and it really makes a difference. George Clinton, decided he was going to be our curator of funk.
He decided.
Well, we worked together on it.
Okay. So let's say you helped
How
him
do you say no?
decide. Yeah. Right. To you, I don't think anyone could say no to you, David.
But here's a guy who's known for Parliament Funkadelic, but also supports 2 music programs in the public schools. Wants to give back and wants to give back to New Jersey, where he's from. So we asked him, who would you most likely to like to perform with? And he said, Morris Day and the Time. Called up Morris. Morris is now warming up for George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic.
See, but you can do that. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you can do that because you know these people. You've done this for years. You're, as I say, you're a sort of a major person in the arts business, in the arts industry. You make the call. Can you do this, do that? You get stuff together, right? You make it happen.
Well, you follow their passion. I mean, his passion is to give back, and that's what's so wonderful. The fact that he's going to be part of a film program on funk with Nelson George. And the fact that he wants to go out and meet with kids. I mean, one of the things when artists tour to 40 or 50 cities is you always look at the front monitor and you see, New York City, because people don't even remember the towns they're in. Our feeling is we want people to remember Newark. They shouldn't have to look at something and say, I'm in Newark. And the way they remember that is interacting with the community, to meet with kids, to meet with people. And then the next time when we call them and say, do you want to play NJPAC? They say, yeah, that's a pretty cool place. I want to be there.
Because it's not only a special facility, but it's special in terms of what you folks do. I worked with, I was shooting something there. I think I did I did the opening video to your gala one year, and he's probably still there, a kid named Oak. Does that ring a bell? He may be gone now. And he was 16 years old at the time. What a talent. This guy sang, he brought the house down. So speaking of talent, obviously NJPAC has had fabulous programming over the years, and it's a premier arts institution, as I've mentioned. But there have been some enhancements, some little bit of changes since you got there. What are you looking to do? What have you done?
I think first of all, we're building on a history. Larry Goldman, I can't think of another person who's built a center like NJPAC. And when we speak about things like America's Got Talent, they say, well, why did they come? I said, because Larry built such a wonderful space. Yeah. And the hundreds of people who work there, who every single day put their passion into the work. So we're kind of working on their shoulders. And probably the biggest differences you're going to see are a greater activation of spaces. So you're going to see, probably 30 or 40 more shows in the Prudential Hall this year. We found out through some of our programs that if we put the right things there, people will come on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Our feeling is we can really activate the community and activate the halls. And part of that is bringing in new shows to new constituencies.
Interesting, Larry, folks who know Larry who are watching this, and everybody knows Larry, he wears bow ties. I used to wear some bow ties back in my day, so there was one point for a couple of years where we were trading bow tie catalogs that we both got in the mail, but that's another story. Okay, what's hot this season? What's coming up that you're excited about this season?
Boy, it runs the gamut. We have Yo-Yo Ma with the New Jersey Symphony, something that we've, was put together as just a special moment at the theater, but then things like, for instance, Nelson George is curating a new film series for us.
Tell us who Nelson George, in case people don't know.
Nelson George is a writer, a filmmaker, really a genius as far as I can see. He's the Chris Rock show, Good Hair. That was a docu that was shown. That was something he did. He's doing something called Finding the Funk right now, which is absolutely amazing. But he is going to interview people after particular shows that are linked to our program. So in a sense, Jazz on a Summer's Day, he'll have a Christian McBride, Esperanza Spalding, so on and so forth, linked to that. And the same thing to our Funk Festival, to our Hip Hop Festival. All of those types of things have films that reflect that and discussions. That's an exciting new thing that we're doing. The jazz programming that's coming up, not just what happened during that weekend, but putting Hezekiah Walker and Take Six on the same program. Having Keith Jarrett as one of probably only 5 of his live events that are coming up. Darlene Love, her Christmas show, as David Letterman says, it's not Christmas without Darlene Love, and does his last show with her every year. She's invited Steve Van Zandt, Sissy Houston, and just a list of people for a special one-time program here at NJPAC.
I'll be there. That sounds like it's right up my alley.
It's gonna be a fun year.
How about dream bookings? Do you have any dream bookings that, someone you just, or a few folks you just love to get?
There are so many dream bookings out on a daily basis, but just this week we put on sale Frankie Valli and Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett, for all anything else except for award shows, has never done a full concert at the theater. Same thing with Aretha Franklin. This will be her first time doing NJPAC, and she'll be here on March 30th. There's just there's a plethora of people still to book.
And so you and your staff produce these shows, correct?
We do.
And so let me ask you the age-old question that we both know the answer to, but some folks might not. Just what the heck does a producer do? Right? How many times have you heard that? I've heard it about 1,000.
We wrangle the cats.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that before. Cat wrangler or goat rodeo is another one that folks know.
Absolutely. I think it's more than anything. It's taking the good people who are on the artist crew and the talent linked with the incredible people that are at NJPAC and making something that people want to return to see again.
And I know you've been a producer or a client or something in a lot of recording studios over the years too. I mean, that's a different kind of producing, no?
Absolutely.
Tell us, what have you done?
Well, I mean, a lot of it lately has been in television. I did the Showtime at the Apollo for about 8 years, and linked to that, I got involved with AOL Online. So the AOL Live component of that, probably one of the first ones we did was with Rod Stewart. And it was great because we had about 1,500 people coming to the show, but we found out that 2.5 million people would buy it online. So you start looking at shows not from a standpoint of serving the live audience, but serving the ancillary audience. And I think from there, I've worked with Rob Thomas, I've worked with a bunch of different people in that regard, looking at how they can increase their constituency. Kevin Hart, who was just here, he tweeted about 3 times before he came, and the amount of donations that came in from Sandy because of that. I mean, the power of broadcasting, whether, the recording industry has changed. I mean, way back.
It's changed a lot. I want to ask you about that, but first you mentioned Hurricane Sandy. NJPAC has sort of had a key role in some relief efforts, true?
We're trying to do our part. You can come to NJPAC and donate canned goods, goods for young people, diapers, formula, that kind of thing. But we've also given away 2,000 seats, basically 100 tickets to each of our next 20 shows.
It's major. That's a major commitment.
And this is not a way to sell tickets. These are not tickets up in the 4th tier. They're spread throughout the house. We made them all $25, and 100% of every single ticket goes to relief efforts. This is not a way to paper the house. This is a way to give back. And it is our commitment to make sure, and we hope people will reach out and go to our website to make sure every single one of those tickets is sold.
That's way commendable. I mean, NJPAC has been known for these sort of commendable community outreach efforts over the years, and this one is maybe bigger and better, but it's sure good. But I want to go back to the music business changing. Boy, has the music business changed. Let's talk about that. How has it changed? How do you sell product now? Can you sell product? I know it's online, but how does that work?
Well, I think that I remember when I was touring way back when, and you waited until Sunday and they would tell you how many albums you sold that week. Now we don't even know what albums are, but you were making your money off those recorded sales. Now people are making their money off their live recordings and downloads. People have to be more entrepreneurial. It's made ticket prices more challenging because the artists aren't just trying to promote a recording; they really are making their dollars off live performance, and it's been this push between accessibility and profitability with the artists and their managers. And it makes it hard for an institution like us because we're all about accessibility. If you look at our programs, I don't think there are any programs where you can't get a ticket for less than $29. And it's something we really have to sell to the artists because we want NJPAC to be a place for everyone.
Well, and how about Thursday nights in NJPAC Sounds of the City? That's, let's see, that costs, let me think, $0. And you're presenting world-class talent, free for the public. I went the first year. I went every Thursday. You know, a few hundred people. You have thousands of people out there on Thursday in beautiful Newark, New Jersey. They're discovering the town because of NJPAC.
And it changed. The constituency changes every week, from Blood, Sweat, and Tears to Rakim and Big Daddy Kane. There really is something for everyone. We did a Latin program with Raymantilla, and the guest artists that came on board. I mean, it was just, these are great nights of community. And once again, that's the theater that was built here, you know, with the vision of a great board, a women's association, Larry. And, you know, it really is the job of all of us to, you know, keep that flame alive.
And you know, you mentioned the live shows, and artists are making more and more of their living, of their salary from the live shows. I know the live shows have changed in terms of the business end. I know that the margin for the artist years ago wasn't so great on live shows. All of a sudden, they're not only charging a little more, as you mentioned, but you know, they're tightening up expenses because they need to generate a buck.
Well, they also are looking at places like StubHub, and they're seeing what the market will bear for their programs. I spoke to a well-known comedian once, and he said, I priced all my tickets at less than $50 because I want to make them accessible, and then I look online and they're selling for $200. Said, next door, he said, I'm going to charge what they're worth, and then I'm going to write a ticket to charity and give away blocks of tickets.
Oh,
because
isn't that sweet though?
The change with the internet has really let us know what the real value of a ticket is, and the managers and agents know it all too well.
They know it all too well. Okay, so we're coming down to the end here. What do you want to do in the next year? I mean, great programming, what? And we only have a couple seconds. And, you know, I'm going to ask for one sentence answer because we did run out of time, actually.
We want to make NJPAC the most diverse and most accessible theater in the country.
And that's one heck of a one-sentence answer. David Rodriguez, thanks so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And for more information about NJPAC or to buy tickets for an upcoming performance, why not visit their website? That's www.njpac.org. That's, once again, www.njpac.org. And if you'd like more information about Carpe Diem, you can write to us at Carpe Diem, there you see it on your screen, at mail.montclair.edu, or give them a call, 973-655-5158. Now, from all of us here at Carpe Diem, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.